With a beautifully crafted entrance, columns and fine stonework, it's becoming clear this was built for a very important person, possibly for a general. Late on day 3, and Trench 3 just keeps on surprising us. But our trench in search of the early fort has been almost the opposite, with ditches and pottery, but little signs so far of buildings or military activity. Yesterday we put this trench in here because there was what seemed to be a big double ditch which we thought was the outside defences of a Roman fort that no one had ever found before. And sure enough, we've got the pottery dating and it is Roman. So then Mick decided he wanted to extend it to see if he could find any evidence of that fort in the ground, buildings and paths and roads and whatnot. How have we done?
And it's worked out extremely well because you just walked over the site of the rampart running in that direction, which would have been made of turf and timber and clay and so on, great big wall across there. And at the back of that, you see this orangey clay area. Mm-hmm. This is probably either an oven or the base of an oven or burning associated with ovens, because there were often ovens in the back of the rampart.
Guy, why would you put an oven in the back of a rampart?
Well, this is a timber fort, so your barrack blocks are made out of wood. The last thing you want them to do is to burn down, so you have your bread oven over here safely behind the rampart.
They're the other side of the road, because we've actually got the road. Look, see all these cobbles here?
Yeah.
So the road's running in this direction behind the rampart, and then the other side of the road, we're starting to get the foundations for the timber buildings. We've got timber slots, we've got rows of nails, where the beginning of the front of the barracks or other military buildings were going off into the fort that direction.
But one of the reasons that we wanted to dig this trench, Guy, was because we wanted some dating.
Yep. We have had some very useful bits of pottery out of here, and one little piece in particular takes us back to the 70s AD. Now that's great because historically we know that in the early 70s there's a governor called Petilius Cerialis who has brought the Roman army up from the North Midlands right into this part of England to wipe out this troublesome northern tribe called the Brigantes.
Oh, yes.
Now we may well have one of the forts from that campaign, which is brilliant, and there's probably a series of early forts like that to control northern Britain.
This has been a truly remarkable dig. We came to this hill in search of a vicus, the civilian settlement that supported the Roman fort, and in the process we uncovered an entire lost landscape. We located the vicus along the road on either side of the fort, but we also discovered a huge earlier fort which pushes the history of Vonovia back to the very beginning of Roman occupation in the north, and a row of 3 mausolea, the first group to be discovered in Britain for 150 years. We came here in search of the living, but found a city of the dead, a street lined with grand tombs, a little piece of the Roman world in the far north of the empire. And at its heart, perhaps the grandest mausoleum of all.
OK, Antonius, my brother and fellow comrade soldier at the mighty fort of Vonovia up there, we've come down the Street of Tombs to venerate the memory of our great ancestor, our great-great-grandfather, the mighty general who once acted as a soldier here, and we've come down to his tomb. Now we've got to go through the vast mighty door that would have once been here, pivoting there on iron, and in we come to the mausoleum area, and towering above us here is his grave, with an inscription that records his name, his mighty exploits, and around here other graves of his brother and his cousins, other members of the family. And these are the men who make you and me important people in the fort today. And our great hope one day is that we'll be buried here too, as great chaps. And as part of that, we've brought down a meal of chicken and wine so that our great ancestor could